to episode 1 of what I am going to just call, for the sake of it right now, the camera guy. So, I'm not really a camera guy, I guess. Well, I'm sort of a camera guy. I know my stuff a little bit, and I'm just kind of learning along the way. I've done live recordings in the past, which is a totally different experience than filmmaking or narrative filmmaking. But that's kind of not important right now. What I am going to talk to you guys about is today I got the idea to build a slider, and I'm just going to kind of show you guys how I did that. So, here we go. Woo! Alright, so for starters on this guide, I'm going to tell you a little bit of what led me to build my particular design like this, things that came about while I made it, stuff like that. So, but first, you're probably going to need a supply list. So basically, what I'm using here are these handrails. Hold on, let me adjust focus, that way things are more in focus in general. Yep, okay. So, what I use is these metal pipes I had lying around my garage. Now, all the things you see on this build, I basically just found around my garage. We have a lot of stuff in our garage. We built our own house, so we got a lot of stuff in our garage. So, if you're not so lucky, you may have to go out and buy some of these supplies. So what I have here, according to this, is a 12-inch by 60-inch piping, metal piping. Now, the reason you're going to want to get these metal pipings is because these pipes, they make for a much smoother surface than, say, PVC. PVC kind of has more of a tendency to grip because it's plastic, and it will also bend. On the ends here, we just have a couple wood blocks that I drilled some holes in for the ends so that we could screw these pieces of pipe in. And then here's for the actual. Now, quite simply for demonstration purposes here, I have my old Sony Cybershot on here with 10 by optical zoom. And basically I'm kind of going to show you guys the design. So let's screw this off right here. One time I tried to build a crane, but it didn't really work out. So I had this old 1/4-inch bolt lying around, which is the standard, as far as I am aware, of what to use on pretty much any tripod. Any tripod will use this. So if your tripod bolt, for some reason you lose it or it goes away or something, you can always just pick one up at the hardware store, 1/4-inch, I believe. And then here's what I'll show you what I did for this. Now for the bottom right here, I have 2 pieces of PVC pipe glued to the top of this board. And in between there, if you guys can see, I'm not sure, we actually have a small little piece of these little sliders for your stuff on hardwood floors. What I did was I just chopped off the tips of that and put it inside the PVC so we have a nice, smooth, gliding surface. So, as far as assembly goes for the slider, what I did was I found a piece of particle board right here. On the underside, I sanded down these little grooves so that I could put the PVC pipe in and it would have a good place to grip. And then basically I hot glued the pipes as aligned as I could, straight back and forth, and that's how these are attached. I screwed the bolt in through here, and I made sure the piece of particle board was big enough to fit my DSLR camera. My DSLR is slightly bigger than this. I'm using film right now, but basically any old bolt will work for this. If you do use PVC pipe, there is going to be a sort of raspy noise on the actual slider itself if you do not put any sort of fabric in there. Now, I thought to myself, oh, maybe I can skip that, you know, maybe I can just chop out the audio. The noise is really, really loud when you do that, actually. Also, the sliders help to give it a much more steady feel to everything when operating this. Also, with my design, there was a couple things I would have done differently. I would have probably glued these in right here, but the reason I don't glue these in is just because I want to be able to take it apart in the future if I need to use these for other things. If I need to remove the actual slider unit itself. One other thing too is that I would probably have bolted the pieces of PVC pipe into this board right here instead of using hot glue, because the hot glue, it's more likely for these pieces to fall right off. So those are the kind of 2 major things I would have done differently. Also, I probably would have tried to make almost everything entirely out of metal if I had the right parts and everything. But for the most part, this gets the job done fairly well. Alright, so as far as tips on operation goes, I'd like to show you a few things that I've learned using this slider. Now, one of the things I did notice is that with my particular design, when you have the camera going straight forwards like this, you can oftentimes see the set of rails and the actual slider in the shot. Now, a way to remedy this would be to put a tripod head on the top of this instead. That way you can angle your camera slightly upwards or downwards depending on what you need. But if you do not decide to do that and you decide not to get all complicated like that, you can always just turn your camera slightly sideways and it should remove the actual slider from the shot. Another thing I noticed that always helps too is that if you have some sort of strap or neck strap or something on the camera, if you take it and you use it to bring your camera forwards, it generally is a lot smoother than if you'd be using your hands. Those are my main 2 tips on operation. If you do decide to go with this design and you do decide to glue it, which I highly don't recommend, I recommend you bolt these pieces of PVC pipe into the actual board you're using. But if you do decide to go with glue, what you're going to want to do is that anytime you have to lift up the rig and this is still on it, always make sure your hands are flat and you try and keep it as flat as possible. I'm not going to do that because my new camera is right there, but that's kind of the general consensus on how you're supposed to use this. Pretty soon, also, I'm going to do sort of the camera guy. I don't know what to call this show yet. Come up with a name for me down in the comments if you guys want. But I'll do sort of DIY videos, stuff like that. Also, I'll like to do like little mini reviews on your guys' shorts and how you guys could do better. I have a little bit of experience in the doing live filming, which is a whole different arena than anything that you do for narrative filmmaking. But I have been doing a lot of things. I watch a lot of videos on YouTube. I'm always trying to stay constant with everything. So you guys can go ahead and leave your short film down below. For anyone that's watching this, it's a Cedar Park guy. If they got a short film they want to upload to YouTube and bring it to me, I'll be happy to give what tips I can. And hopefully that should be coming soon. It's gonna be, and I'm still gonna do my shorts whenever I feel like doing a short, I'll do a short. But for the most part, as far as a weekly basis, I'm going to try and do this sort of show almost a lot more. So anyways, guys, click the subscribe button right here and catch you later.